County Board of Commissioners Emergency Special Call Meeting to order. I'd like to ask Susan Mabry to call the roll.
Chairman Michelle Morgan.
Here.
Vice Chairman George Chambers.
Here.
Commissioner Montrell McClendon.
Here.
Commissioner Clint Chance.
Here.
Commissioner Tommy Lee.
Here.
Commissioner Steve Fuller.
Here.
Commissioner Ernie Reynolds.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, and we also have on the line with us our two attorneys, Stacy Blackman and Avery Jackson. I'd like at this time to ask Tommy Lee to lead the invocation, please.
Dear Heavenly Father God, thank you for this day, dear God. Dear God, lead us and guide us and keep us as one body, dear God, to make decisions which is good for the county and the cities in our nation, dear God, and help lead us to do what is right, dear God. And we thank you, dear God, and I pray that you lay your healing hand on this earth, dear God, and get rid of this pandemic. And we give you all the honor and glory, for it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tommy. I'm asking Steve Fuller to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic
and to the republic
one
for which it
nation,
stands,
under
one
God,
nation under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will now move into the financial session. 5.1, hazard pay relating to coronavirus, state of emergency, consideration to pay frontline employees hazard pay for working during the COVID-19 public health emergency. Commissioners, I'm proposing that we offer hazard pay to our frontline employees who come to work and have no choice about meeting with the public face to face. These employees are putting their lives on the line due to the high risk of exposure to the coronavirus. While these employees have chosen a career that to most of us is dangerous, they've had the training and they wear the proper equipment to prepare them for their typical career hazards. The problem is this isn't a typical hazard and we aren't able to provide them with the proper equipment, vaccinations, or cures because they do not exist. I'm asking for an expected $36,867.12 per week for up to 4 weeks or less, for a total of approximately $147,468.48 to be taken from the $170,000 in the line item of contingency line. Would someone like to make a motion in a second so we can begin the discussion?
I make a motion.
I second.
Okay, I have.
I'm sorry, could I hear who made the second?
Ernie. George.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ernie, whoever. It doesn't matter.
Thank you.
Okay, I now open it up for discussion.
Madam Chair, this is Clint. First thing I want to say is that I appreciate the work that you and all of your staff are doing, and all of the support agencies such as the Sheriff Department and of course the fire and everybody that's having to deal with this. I think this has definitely been a group effort all the way around. I've got a lot of basic, I guess, questions and concerns just as far as our ability to start some form of additional pay. I noticed you stated that you were looking for this only to happen for the first 4 weeks. And I guess my question to you is, if this pandemic goes on for 3 months, what is your proposal? In other words, if you're saying that we need to start this because they're having to interact with the public, are we going to take it away and then tell them that we expect them to continue interacting, or what is your thought process on that?
Commissioner Chance, very good question. I think these are things that we're going to have to take probably a week, 2 weeks at a time. It's not something that we could probably plan for 6 months and a year. I do know the board that I have previously served on, some of you are still on there with me, and some of the things we've even done as a current board. We have a really, really good fund balance, and we have raised it up. And this is something that I think would probably be why you save for a rainy day. So I don't know at the end of this month, if we're still in these situations, what we will do. And I think we have to address it at that given time. I think at the current moment, showing this goodwill and showing our public safety how important this is and good morale, I think in the long run it will still stand as a positive to them no matter what we have to do in several weeks.
Are we doing everything in our power to fund all the supplies that they might need as far as masks or gloves or disinfectants? Is that something that every department has a supply of that we've been able to provide?
Yes, at this moment, if y'all remember back when I signed the state of emergency, we were the first ones in the state to do that so that we were able to access funds from GEMA and FEMA and also to open up that small business loan portal for our businesses. At this time, the only thing, which I think I had sent you an email or I had told you, was that I had given the Correctional Institute, the warden, to order some extra food for a 2-week supply. If this finishes before the end of the fiscal year, it'll be a wash and no extra food or money will be spent out of the warden's budget. I have talked with both the sheriff and with Tim Padgett, the fire chief. They have spent some funds, but they already had that money in their current budget. If it continues, yes, we'll have to look at it for July 1st going forward. But right this moment, I've been told they have the equipment they currently need.
Can I ask you, I guess my concern in general is that there's a lot of unknowns, right? We don't know what this is going to look like a month down the road. We don't know what it's going to look like 3 months down the road. And obviously I'm getting calls left and right from neighbors who have lost their jobs weeks ago and, are saying, they can't believe what's going on. They don't have any income and they're taxpayers. And so to me, making sure that our employees are safe is the number one priority, to give them what they need as far as supplies. And then I think bigger than that for me is that all of Carroll County is a family. I know there's a lot of employees out there that are scared to death that are we going to continue to be able to employ them? Are they going to keep getting their actual original paycheck, so to speak? And to me, those are just the top priorities as I see that. So I guess I asked you a fundamental question, and I think what you brought before us is definitely out of good faith, and we're wanting to send a message of positivity, and I'm absolutely for that message. But I know the information we just got about 30 or 45 minutes ago, and I'm still trying to sort through it and go through it and process everything there, and I worry about, are we leaving somebody out? What about people that maybe were already on the front line and we're just starting the pay today? So I guess my fundamental question to you is, would we be better served to not vote no on this, but simply to table it, to give us a month, 2 months, 3 months when this pandemic is over? Let us get a handle on sales tax revenue as far as, is it down 50%, is it down 20%, to get a better handle on what this looks like. And then if we're in a better place down the road where we revisit this, and if we have money to try to that we think appropriate that time to pass out or to compensate people, I would be wholeheartedly for that. I just think I'm a little scared that we're trying to take care of the whole Carroll County family, and if we start now dishing out additional money, does that mean down the road we could get in a tight where we can't give someone even their original paycheck? So I guess I'm just asking you, I know that was a long question, but is there a possible way for us to take this up at a time that is a little bit down the road and we see how our finances are going to be impacted by this, if it's short term or if we find out it's going to be long term?
Yes, you can most certainly make a motion to table this. We can have a second and we can have a vote, and Stacy, I'm sure that's the correct way of doing it. We can do that.
Well, I would like to know, Madam Chairman, that you have took in consideration the funds, and the funds are going to be available to where we're not going to lose any employees at all if we do this.
I feel very
If
comfortable.
you can tell me that we won't lose any employees, that we're going to be able to pay our bills, pay our employees, then I'm good with this. I think it's great.
I think I feel very comfortable with that, but Commissioner Lee,
Is that
you have to make your own decision on this going forward. I cannot predict the future. I have been a businesswoman for over 35 years. We've been a very successful business, both in my prior business and in my family's business. But I cannot predict the future. I can only do what is in the moment, and I feel very strongly that we need to show a strong support to these men and women who are on the very, very front line. And so if you feel like y'all want to table it, we can make the motion, have a second, and we can vote. And if we vote for this, we'll do our best, keep going forward to keep you informed about the funds and letting you know what changes we might have to do. But since I have been in office, I have not laid off one single employee. And it is not my intention to do that at this point in time.
I understand we've had the funds, and that's what concerned me. As long as we have the funds, I'm great. I've always been a supporter of public safety in all shapes, form, and fashion, and I have not changed that.
Well, I think a supportive yes would be a great way to show that.
I just don't want to have to lose other employees because we decide to do something and we can't take them. Once we do this, we'll never be able to take it back. Never. I know I've been in that situation.
I think you're going to have to make that decision when you decide to vote.
Mm-mm. Well, I like a lot of answers when I vote, to know. I don't like a lot of uncertainty, and we've got enough uncertainty in this community at this time now with this pandemic. A lot of uncertainty. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yes?
This is Steve Fuller. Have you got got to figure out how to phrase this. I understand that this is only going to last for 30 days.
Up to 30 days. Yes, up to 30 days. I don't know. The governor's state of emergency goes through April 13th, I believe. I don't know what the 14th, 15th will look like for Carroll County, if he will extend it or if the Carroll County Board of Health will want to extend it. But for this moment, I'm asking up to 4 weeks for that $147,000. But if we don't need it, we will not continue it.
What happens after 4 weeks if it does continue? Do we have to come back to the
Yes,
table?
yes, you will.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, I guess I'm not making a motion in the moment. I'm asking for, you brought this to us, so I'm asking for your feedback, and I understand that you're supportive of this, but I guess what I'm saying to you is, if this was tabled down the road and we really tried to get a better handle on what the finances are going to be, and to ensure that we're not leaving anyone out, right? I mean, there have been people that have already been on the front line that may not be outlined in what we were sent a little while ago. So what I'm saying is, would we not be in a better position then to still try to take care of our employees for sure if once we get through this pandemic? I'm just asking, would you not be okay with that scenario?
I wouldn't have brought this motion before you if I had not done all my homework. I've spoken with all the department heads. I trust their judgment on who they weigh in that deserves the hazard pay and for the job that they're doing with the face-to-face to the public. I will vote no to table it, and I will vote yes to accept this. But, if y'all choose to do opposite, I will follow whatever vote is made.
But when you talk about that you've done your homework, you do understand as a district commissioner, when your homework you compiled was only provided 30 minutes ago, it's a little bit harder for us to make sure that we're making the most prudent position. I'm not asking you to agree with how I may vote. I'm just hoping that you could recognize that while I certainly respect the job you're doing, and I have said it over again, you're working very hard, but I'm simply saying, to get facts and data to try to comprehend on a sheet of paper 30 minutes before a meeting starts, it makes it very difficult for me to also intelligently speak that I've done my homework, because I haven't been able to get the information ask pertinent questions of different people that provide it, just like we would normally do. So that is no disrespect to you. I respect your position, and I think you're doing a very good job in a tough situation. I'm just saying I don't have that luxury to have gone through and looked at the information like you're stating that you have.
Well, we are in uncharted times, and yes, I would have loved to have had this idea and been able to put it together and send it to y'all with approximately the 10 to 7 days you normally get prior to a work session, of which then you have several days after that before you have to vote on a Tuesday. We do not have that, and there again, you are welcome to make a motion to table this, and we can bring it up at a future time if it passes, or we can choose to vote yes or no on this.
I would make a motion, Madam Chairman, that we do not say no to this, but that we simply table this to show the community that we are doing a prudent job to try to protect all of our employees, continue being employed, and when the pandemic has passed, that we will revisit this and make our best judgment at that point in time with our finances to see if we can compensate those who fought on the front lines during the pandemic.
Okay, Stacy, let's make sure we're doing this right. I hear there is a motion to amend the first motion to table it, correct?
Right, well, it's a motion to table.
Okay, and so we need a second.
This is Commissioner McClendon. I second that motion.
Okay, so I have a first and a second to table the motion of doing frontline hazard pay. Is there any further discussion on the motion to table it?
Well, I have a question. How long are we planning on tabling it? How far out?
Well, the motion is until we would understand that the pandemic has passed.
That could be 6 months or a year.
Well, the caveat to that is we could also be agreeing to pay something for 6 months or a year and not knowing if we have the money to carry it out that long, too.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll say this, I've had many constituents call me and very concerned about us moving in this direction at this time. There are many, and I'm going to tell you this right here, I value our employees and I value our first responders, you know, and I value our public safety, always will. But there are many on the front line and they are not receiving any type of compensation or anything like this. And many constituents that I've talked to already are just saying, hey, look, we need to think twice about what we're doing. We need to know more about what's going on, and I would rather have more time to think about this rather than the hours that we did have.
I agree with that.
Well, if we're going to table it, I'd like for us to readdress this as soon as we can. I mean, how long will it take for us to get the information, talk to our constituents, and then come back? I don't know if I'm
Stacy,
gonna
this is George. Can I ask a question?
Yes,
We all came to the consensus at the work session earlier this year that we wanted to do some structure, and I agree with that 100%. And I think Commissioner Chance brought up Robert's Rules of Order, which I agree with 100%. Theoretically, I don't have a problem with tabling this. However, if you lay something on the table under Robert's Rules of Order, am I correct that it has to be time specific? In other words, if I made the motion to lay this on the table until X date or in X number of days, is that correct?
I think you can have
Under
a
Robert's
motion.
Rules?
Um,
And I'm just trying to help move forward on this.
Brought that up. Robert,
Well,
that was committed.
yes,
Would it help if I amended my motion to say that we will revisit this in 60 days?
I don't have a problem, Clint. I just thought that I just wanted some direction as far as I just was under the impression that whenever you made a motion to lay something on the table, it had to be until such time, and that had a specific time, specific date. Is that correct me if I'm incorrect on that, Stacy?
I think that is correct, that you, for a motion to table, you have a specific time. A motion to postpone, I believe, can be indefinite.
I know we all get caught up in things whenever different associations and I guess church meetings are the works, where we say, make a motion to table, and, you know, I've been guilty of that in the past too. But I guess my thought process was, is after, you know, having brushed up on Robert's rules a little bit, I thought whenever you made a motion to table, that it had a specific, until the next regular scheduled meeting, or until 30 days, until 14 days, until whatever. Is that, am I incorrect, or?
You're correct.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to amend my motion to address Commissioner Chambers' comments, and I appreciate that we table this for a time period of 60 days in which we can revisit at that point in time and just see where we're at that particular time. If it warrants voting on the issue, or if it warrants an extension, you know, but 60 days from today.
Okay, do I have a second?
Commissioner McClendon, I second that.
Okay, so I have a first and a second to an amendment to the original motion. So the motion on the table right now is to table this for 60 days. Is there any further discussion?
Well, personally, I'd like to see it shortened up to when Governor Kemp is going to readdress this pandemic in the state of emergency on what, the 14th or the 15th of April? Is that correct?
I believe it's April 13th at 11:59 p.m.
Commissioner Fuller, I don't know why we can't have a call meeting, an emergency call meeting at any time like this one.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And this is Commissioner McClendon. I'm good. If we want to move the government timeline, I would be good with that. But I think we need more time to think about this.
Clint, could I ask a question, please, sir?
Yes, sir.
Would you be able to amending your motion to correspond with the current, get it right in a minute, the governor's current timeline, and then that would give us some time to visit and do some further study, as you indicated?
Yes, sir, and I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, I thought that the order by the governor was April 30th, or was that at the federal level? I'm sorry, the dates are running together.
It's April 13th, Monday, April 13th.
Yeah, the federal was April 30.
Okay. I mean, I would, Commissioner Chambers, I would be willing to make that the date, that if we're going to hear from the governor on the 13th, then if we could possibly move it 2 days after that, just to give us time to process what the governor is going to report on. So would you be okay with Wednesday, April the 15th, the table, which would be 2 days?
I would have no problem whatsoever. I think that would address your concerns as far as what, you know, further study you want to do, but also that would give us some direction from the state level. Yes, sir. Procedure level from the state.
Yes, sir. I would be willing to, Madam Chair, amend my motion once again to table with all the preceding information I gave in the motion, but the date to April the 15th, coincide, giving us time to process the governor's update that's scheduled for April the 13th.
Okay, so we now have a third amendment to the original motion to move it to Wednesday, April 15th. I need a second on this.
I second Commissioner McClendon.
Okay, so I have a first and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Stacy, I'm going to ask you, as our parliamentarian and as our legal counsel, if you will please reiterate what we're voting on and then the order we're supposed to vote on, if this is the only one, but if you will please do that for me.
Yes. We need to have a vote on, first on the motion to amend the motion to table. So we need a vote on whether or not you want to amend the motion to table to have until a date certain of April 15th.
Okay, so we are voting to table this until April 15th. Is that correct?
Well, first we vote on the motion to amend
Okay,
this motion to table, and then if that passes, then we'll vote on the motion to table 15.
okay, so at this
So
point,
there's
we're
a two-step
really,
process.
okay, so we're really just voting on the date of April 15th to one of the original amendments.
Right. So,
Okay.
and if we can do a roll call, is a voice vote on
Okay.
the motion to amend the motion to table to add a date certain of April 15th.
Okay, so we're only voting on the date right this second.
Correct.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second for April 15th. And I'll have Susan Mabry, I'll have you call the roll, please.
Morgan,
Yes.
Chambers,
Yes.
Chance,
Yes.
Fuller,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
You missed McClendon.
I'm sorry, McClendon.
Yes. That's okay. Yes.
I got your second. I just didn't get your vote. Sorry.
Okay, so we have a
So-
7-0 to agree to the April 15th, tabling this to April 15th. Now we need to vote on the tabling of it, correct?
That's right.
All right.
Now you vote
Okay,
whether to table the motion until, whether to table the agenda item until April 15th.
okay. So we have do I need to ask for another second on that, or we're already good?
We're good.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to amend the hazard pay relating to coronavirus to a further date of April 15th. Correct?
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we'll do a roll call vote.
Morgan,
No.
Chambers,
Yes.
McClendon,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Fuller,
Yes.
Reynolds.
No.
Thank you.
You didn't get Chance.
I was not asked.
Chance, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so we have 5-2 that the motion to table has passed. So we don't need to go back to the original motion for hazard pay.
Correct.
Okay, so at this time, the meeting, we don't have any further business, so I will adjourn the meeting. Oh, well, actually, I need to ask for a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
Motion made, McClendon.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting, so we'll do a roll call vote again.
Okay, Morgan,
Yes?
Chambers,
Yes.
McClendon,
Yes.
Chance,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Fuller,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.